Hey everybody, Sean Tierney here from theautomationblog.com, and in this episode of the Automation Minute, we're going to take a look at configuring Communications 2 and downloading to a MicroLogix 1100. Now, previously, in previous episodes, we've already taken a look at the MicroLogix 1100 hardware. We've taken a look at the LCD screen, specifically how to find the IP address using the LCD screen. And we've also had an episode on how to give a PLC an address using BootP. So we're not going to retread all that material because it's already there for you. That said, I've also already published 3 episodes that showed you how to connect to the 1000, the 1200, and the 1500 using serial. And because the 1100 connects via serial the same exact way with the same exact cables, we're not going to go over that in this lesson. Neither are we going to talk about the programming software because we have a lesson all about that as well. So with that said, let's focus on setting up the Ethernet connection and downloading to our MicroLogix 1100. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into RSLinx Classic. And here I'm going to go to Communications, Configure Drivers, and I'm going to add one of the 2 different type of drivers. Ethernet devices, that driver requires me to manually add the Ethernet addresses in, where the Ethernet IP driver will attempt to automatically discover my PLCs on the network. So we'll try that one first. I'll click on Add New. I'll select the default name. And now it's very important here that you choose the right network card. You could have a Bluetooth network. You could have a Wi-Fi network. And you probably have a wired network card in your computer. Choose the one that the PLC is on. Ping the PLC, make sure you can ping it, and choose the right network card. I know in my case it's this network card. So I'll click OK here, and now it's running. Now let's close this and double click on our new driver. And here we can see that RSLinx has found 3 PLCs. It found our 1100, it found a 1400, and it found a CompactLogix I have on there, but it doesn't recognize the CompactLogix. This is an older version of Lynx, so it doesn't have the information about that, so you get the yellow question mark. Now we can see here that our MicroLogix 1100 is a .62.192.168.1.62 Ethernet address. And so we'll use that information to set up the second driver. Come up here, Ethernet devices, add new, accept the default name, and now I will put in that address. And this is useful if you have a firewall or some other software or hardware on the network that's preventing the auto browsing of the network. Sometimes IT people will turn that off because hackers can use that to try to discover devices on the network. So when that happens, this is a good driver to use. You can run both drivers at the same time, just like you can run your email and your web browser at the same time. They're all going through Ethernet. And I'll double click there. And I always say give it about 10 seconds. Give RSLinx about 10 seconds to discover the device you're looking for. You can see here we got a yellow question mark right now. And in a few moments, we're going to see it change. Get the red X now. And now in a few moments, we'll see it. It should change to a picture of our MicroLogix. Yep, there it is. So like I said, I'm from the Northeast, so I have a hard time waiting. But give RSLinx at least 10 seconds. Typically, that's long enough for it to find what you're looking for. So let's go ahead and minimize RSLinx. And now open the programming software. Now, I'm using RSLogix 500, and if you have it, that's great. But don't buy RSLogix 500 to program the MicroLogix if you don't have any SLC 500s as well. Regardless of what AB.com says, you can program the MicroLogix line of programmable controllers with RSLogix Micro. And if you use an 1100 or a 1000, you can use the free RSLogix Micro Starter Lite, which I show you how to download in a recent update to one of my episodes here. Rockwell changed their website again. They keep changing their websites, and the links to the old download locations are dead. So there's an updated video a few episodes back that shows you how to get the software for free. So with that said, I have 500 installed, so I'm just going to use it, but you can use the free software if you're doing this at home. I'm going to go File, New, and now I'm going to look for, let's see here, I'm looking for an 1100. I'll just choose a Series A. And here, I'm not going to change any of the communication settings, and I'll I'll just won't apply these when I download because this is just a test project. So I'm not going to fill any of this in. Okay, now this is not meant to be a ladder logic lesson. So if you want to learn all about programming ladder logic, check out my PLC Basics course over at theautomationschool.com. But we're just going to put in a quick rung to test out our micro. And I'll just stop by typing in an XIO. We'll assign that to T4:0./DN. And then we'll start a branch. And then here we'll put a TON in for T4:0. We will give it a time base of 1 second, a preset of 1,000, and an accumulate of 0. Then we'll go to our next branch, and we will put in a move to move the accumulate value of our timer to our outputs. And we'll end the branch, press enter. And let's verify our project, see if that's valid. It is. So now it's time to download to the MicroLogix. Now, a lot of people gravitate to this dropdown. You don't want to do that. Unless you know that the last driver you used is the correct driver, right? This may be DF1, this could be something else. So I always tell people, be safe, right? Go to comms, system comms. That brings up an RS-Who from RS Links to show you all the drivers you have installed. And then there you can actually browse and select the right driver and the right programmable controller. Much better than playing the Russian roulette with the drop down here, at least in my opinion. So now we've selected our MicroLogix 1100. Now let's click on download. Okay, now it's asking if we want to save our program before we download it. Sure. I already got one named Untitled. I'm just going to write over it. Now it's saying, you sure you want to download this program designed for this series MicroLogix to this MicroLogix with this program? Sure, I want to do that. So it's downloading, and when it gets to the communication, it says, wait a minute, the communication setup currently in the 1100 is really different from what you have. Do you really want to overwrite those settings with the settings in our project? No, because I didn't set up any settings. I don't want to set the Micro 1100 back to defaults. So I'm going to say don't apply. Now it's saying, hey, if there's an Ethernet channel configuration change, you will have to reboot the 1100 for it to take effect. And now it's asking if I want to go online. Okay, since we're in remote program, we can put it into run mode here from the software. And I will select yes, I want to change the processor mode to run. Okay, now we can see the PLC went to run mode. And here we can hear our relays clicking. And that's because we're taking the accumulate value of our timer and moving it to the outputs. And so you won't be able to see on the LEDs on the front of the unit because they're so small. But if I go to the data table here, and let me go ahead and change it to binary view and zoom in. And here you can see what outputs are on and off right now. Now, because that can get annoying after a while, I'm going to put it into program mode. And if you found that helpful and you would like to learn all about programming and ladder logic, or you know somebody who could use that type of training, check out my courses over at theautomationschool.com. I have PLC Basics 2nd edition, which I totally refilmed this year. It's nearly 5 hours in length, and right now it's on sale. It's less than a video game. So that's a great one to get. You can get it digitally. You can get it on DVD. You can get a digital DVD combo. And when you buy it, no matter what version you buy, you'll get support from me at theautomationschool.com, as well as a link to download the files I use in the course. Several PDFs, a couple hundred pages worth of PDFs that have all the presentations I use in the course, as well as the final program after we've written a very long program, that final program, as well as some other stuff, all for free because you bought the course at theautomationschool.com. Now, I do have students in 45 countries, and some of those countries, people don't make as much as we make here in the U.S. And because I've had so many people, especially overseas, ask for a lower course version, I actually grabbed the 2013 edition of this course that I originally did with the Kickstarter backers, and I cleaned it up some, and I reauthored it and remastered it into a 2-hour core edition. So right now that's on sale under $20, and it's great for people who, maybe $60 is too much. Maybe they need something less expensive. So even though it's an older course, it still covers all the basics you need to get started. And, it's great for those on a tight budget. Again, if you work for a Fortune 500 company and you're making billions, I'm going to recommend the PLC Basics 2nd edition because it was totally refilmed. And there's a lot more stuff in there. I added photo eyes into it and motors into it and some other stuff. So you'll get more out of the longer, nearly 5-hour course than you will out of the 2-hour course. But they're both there and they're both available. Now, if you'd like to see more of these free episodes of the Automation Minute published on YouTube and on the automationminute.com, then why not become a backer of the program? For as little as $3 a month, you can support us, and I'll give you in return $10 worth of free downloads every single month, including 5 free downloads of the Automation Minute. So consider that. Take a look at that link at the bottom of the screen. And that's it for this episode. Until next time, peace.